Harbaugh now heads to the Los Angeles Chargers.
He wins everywhere. He wins, period.
Justin Herbert, he's a crown jewel.
Well, you guys better enjoy this.
Quick snap, Herbert to throw. Has a man, touchdown!
The fans loved it.
You have to love what you're seeing on tape if you're a Chargers fan, especially for the future with Justin.
Herbert on the move and throws and touchdown.
I was just trying to show off.
We're going to be known as world champions. And we're going to do it or die trying. Don't let the powder blues fool you.
Who's got it better than that?
Oh, folks, welcome back to the Charger Chat. I'm your co-host, Dog, sitting with my buddy, Kev Huggin.
Yes.
Oh.
Yes. All the yeses.
Oh, let's not forget Kyle, the coach, Duggan.
I that was a really fun game to watch, but it also is like, it's like, I wish I wasn't just happy that they were losing. I wish we were in the game and winning at the same time.
It's fine.
You know? Yeah.
It's coming.
But I don't know, boys. That Super Bowl was just an absolute manhandling. The final score doesn't even tell you the story of how bad they got destroyed.
Full
like
shellacking.
The Buccaneers Chiefs of 2020. They just got, like, it doesn't even look like they belonged on the field. And here's what I'll say. All season long, squeaking out one score wins, like missed field goals with time expiring, all this crap, calls going their way. They did not get calls today. Yesterday. That's for sure.
I think they overcompensated big time.
Yeah, but I think that they got a little taste of what it feels like to be every other team in the league. Like the Chargers don't get those calls ever, and they finally didn't get them, and they got their butts whooped on TV in front of millions and millions of people.
Most viewed game of all time, 123 million.
That was so bad. Like it's just like Mahomes on the sideline. Like, I don't know what to do. I got no answer here. They're just pressure in my face. I got no one open. I don't know what to do.
Big bottom lip.
Yeah.
And you got like double punched in the. Sorry, we're already into it.
I know we are
keep going. Keep going. We're so fired up.
I just to step in, folks, we got a hell of an episode lined up for you. We're going to talk about the Super Bowl. We got senior writer Eric Smith, and we got an Ask Boltfam lined up for you. Let's talk about this game, the Super Bowl. Go. Okay.
Yeah, it was. Adam and I went over to our really amazing friend Randy's house for the game. So we were there with a lot of Chiefs fans, and we ended up kind of quarantining ourselves in a corner of the house that we wouldn't be too bothersome. But it was just a lot of just so quiet, like high fives, like keeping it real low key. Yes. It was just too much fun.
And
did people stop watching pretty quick though?
They held on.
They were locked
through the very
in.
end. Yeah, they were just like
they were real fans.
Yeah, for sure. No, it was interesting because like I moved up here end of 22. And I've been going to these Super Bowl parties with Randy. And every time I've gone, they kept freaking winning. And I was just like, is it me?
Am I doing
Should
this?
I not be here right now? And blessedly, this last game showed it was not me. It was just such a good game. And this was so funny because this was also a game where it's just like, why would we bother watching? Who cares? The Chiefs are going to win. And then halftime rolls around and the Chiefs haven't scored a single point. It's like,
24-0 at halfies.
They had one first down in the first half, and it was the first play of the game. And that was the only first down they had the entire first half. I mean, I'm pretty sure Mahomes had like negative yards with sacks included. They did nothing.
Well, it took forever to get a play in their opponent's territory. I don't know that they even converted a third down, honestly.
Well, there was an interesting stat from NFL and CBS that the complete list of teams to fail to cross midfield on their first 9 drives of a game this season, the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. That's it.
Geez, there it is. 9
it was
drives
just,
it took them.
The Eagles were just so dominant. Like they had an answer to absolutely everything that they did. And then you have people, the Chiefs were dropping balls, like Kelsey dropped 2 balls. It was, you could just feel that momentum.
Yeah.
It's crazy. You have to be able to get pressure with 4. They didn't blitz one time in the game, and they had 6 sacks. If you can get pressure with 4, you can dominate because then you have 7 guys dropped in coverage. You can get exotic. You can cover it up. You can show this, do that. You can double guys. You can just do so much more when you don't have to blitz. They didn't have to blitz one time, and they got 6 sacks. And the pressure percentage was higher than its completion percentage in the first half.
That's crazy.
It was just It was a dominant performance by the Eagles.
It was just not a game that anybody expected to see. I mean,
No.
on both sides of the ball, we were going into this game going, oh, Saquon, it's his birthday. He's going to have a great day. They contained him completely. What they forgot was it was also, but it was also Cooper DeJean's birthday, who decided like, hey, it's my birthday too. I'm going to get a pick six on this day.
Two birthday boys.
Yeah.
Yeah. Our fun sponsor didn't do so well because I had Saquon going higher on everything and just didn't work out at all.
The one game that I was like, we get on some of this underdog fantasy. And Saquon, you son of a bitch.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday. I guess you got that going for you.
Got that going for you. Can I tell you a story about what happened today?
Please. I'm dying to hear this.
So we got a text from my oldest son's teacher saying, Stellan said something at school today that wasn't very nice and kind of hurt some kids' feelings. And I was intrigued. And
the day after the Super Bowl when the Chiefs lose, your son did something inappropriate.
I was intrigued. They have like they sit on the floor and they have an open talk at the beginning of the morning. Like, what did you do this weekend? And my son said, it just feels so great because the Chiefs played so bad in the Super Bowl. I can tell you all that they suck. The Chiefs suck. And the teacher's like, that's not very nice. How would you feel?
Oh, the teacher got her feelings hurt.
No, she's being, he did call out like 18 kids in his class.
You suck.
They probably were doing that to him all. They probably did that to him all season on the playground.
Well, here this is. So he's
toughen up.
She said, "How would you feel if they said that about your team?" He says, "They say that about my team every week."
Bitch. And that's what the phone call was about.
Yeah, and then they're like, and then Stellan
punctuated it with a bitch.
Apparently, Stellan got he was bummed out about it. When I got home, though, I gave him a fist pump. I'm like, dude, I'm not even mad.
You're not in trouble, buddy.
I love you, my sweet baby.
Let's go get some ice cream.
Yeah.
In fact, you want a present? Let's get you a present.
Let's go to Amazon. What are you looking for?
That's awesome. I love that.
Yeah,
I'm so proud of him.
But he's for a 9-year-old to have conviction to like go against the herd and be like, you guys suck. I appreciate that. I love him so much.
Good kid.
Good kid. Raised him right, Kev.
Yeah, thanks.
You're doing good. You're doing a good job over there. Keep up the good work. I might just buy you a present for being such a good dad.
All my kids yesterday watching the Super Bowl, they're like, they were kind of running around playing while I was watching, and they're like, "Did we win? Did we win?" I was like, "Well, technically, we didn't. We're not playing, but yeah, the Chiefs lost. If that's what you mean,
we won.
Like,
Not win.
I love it.
Well, speaking of Super Bowls, apparently FanDuel's already got odds for who's going to win the Super Bowl next season, and plus 2,700 is the Chargers have the 10th best odds to win the Super Bowl at plus 2,700, according to FanDuel.
And that's before we start making moves and shit. So I might be having to figure out how to place a bet on this.
We have like 20 guys on our roster.
That's half
we're
a
already
team,
the 10th most likely.
We're half a team. We're top 10.
Pretty good odds. So yeah, if you're in Vegas, put some money down.
Do it.
Hold on to that ticket. It's a good investment. Well, prior to the Super Bowl, there was all of the accolades of things happening as far as MVPs. We saw Josh Allen got MVP. Who I didn't even notice who got Coach of the Year.
It was Kevin O'Connell.
Yeah, O'Connell for the Vikings.
Okay. Yeah, and Ben Johnson got best assistant
coordinator.
Coach. I think it was
coordinator.
Assistant coach. Yeah, coordinator. And we saw Joe Burrow got comeback player of the year. JK got robbed.
That's stupid. He hurt his finger on a get over it. You're Joe Burrow. You did what you're supposed to do.
JK came back twice. He got hurt, came back, kicked ass, then got hurt for 2 weeks in our season, then came back. He did double comeback.
He didn't hurt his pinky. He tore his Achilles and ripped his ACL in half. He hurt his pinky and got comeback player of the year for doing what he normally did the year before that. It's ridiculous. I mean, it feels like a quarterback participation trophy.
Yeah, pretty much.
Basically. But what else happened, which was so freaking good to see, was they announced the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Now, last year we were pretty upset that this guy wasn't a first ballot Hall of Fame inductee.
Yeah.
But thank God they righted the ship. He's in. It's final. Antonio Gates, tight end for the Chargers. The tight end with the most touchdowns in his career is finally in the Pro Football Hall of Fame.
Sick. And the video they showed of LT like surprising him to tell him that he was in the Hall of Fame. Man, that's awesome. He started crying. What a cool moment.
It's an absolutely cool moment.
Hey,
I mean, this is
I was gonna say, did you see the girl that was in the video with Gatesy? Is that our inside source?
I don't know. I've not seen a face to the name, and I don't know.
Is that his agent?
Cut this.
It might be. She's the one that hooked us up with the interview with him. Yeah.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
And Frank, our good guy, Frank.
Yeah,
Frank. It's Frank. Frank, confirm if that was her
Frank
on the video.
Tank.
That's awesome.
Yeah, Frank, please confirm.
But it was it's a fantastic thing to see. I mean, the story of Gates. Did you know he played basketball?
He played basketball, dude. He played college basketball. I don't know if you heard. Now he's in the Football Hall of Fame.
For a guy to be an undrafted free agent, come in, set records, change how the position is played. I mean, even people like Rob Gronkowski were like, he made the tight end position fun. Like, this was a guy that changed that whole position and made it something of his own. And thank God he's getting his dues, his accolades in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Congratulations, Mr. Gates.
So awesome.
Absolutely well
Love you,
deserved.
Gatesy.
Love you, man.
Some other news going around. Pete Thamel tweeting out that the Chargers are set to hire former Florida State DC Adam Fuller, great name, as the team's new safeties coach. He's a veteran college defensive coordinator with stops at FSU, Memphis, and Marshall, and he served as the head coach at Assumption College in 2008. So we saw that we lost our safeties coach, went to go be, was it a coach or a DC?
I think defensive coordinator.
Yeah, DC. And now coming in to replace Mr. Fuller. Welcome, sir.
And there's a good interview with Eric Smith we did from the Chargers that's coming up soon, and we go into a little depth on this. And
good.
Yeah, it was very interesting.
Learn a little something.
Yeah, a little something.
Those are the best interviews when you get to learn.
Yeah.
A little something. Well, folks, something you can learn about this week is our Patreon. Patreon.com/ChargerChat. Check out all the fun, silly videos we got going on over there. And I mean, there's some pretty special things. There's some fun things. And if you join the $10 level, you can get one of these, folks. Head on over, patreon.com/ChargerChat. But if you don't want to go over there, it's fine. Going over to our regular website, chargerchat.com. Check out all the cool stuff we got over there. T-shirts, hoodies, and stickers. You can chat it up with other Charger Chatteteers in the members section and ask questions in Ask Boltfam. So go check out chargerchat.com. All right, folks. We've been teasing it this whole episode. We're bringing back the Bolt Insight. We've got an interview.
I panicked. I forgot how to do it. The beginning is just a little stumbly. It's a little stumbly because I was like, wait, what do I say again? Oh, shit.
Yeah, what's my follow-up?
What do I say? Yeah.
So, folks, let's bring it on in. Bolt Insight with senior writer with the Chargers, friend of the podcast, Mr. Eric Smith.
All right, guys, we're back with another Bolt Insight, and we are super lucky to have the Chargers editorial director, Eric Smith, with us. How's it going, Eric?
Kevin, I'm doing well, man. How are you?
I'm good. It's been a minute since Chargers had some football, and the Super Bowl's over, so it's kind of like getting into that time of the season where the rumor mill and just kind of get thoughts on what happened and where we're going. So really want to pick your brain on your perspective on that and kind of where we are as a franchise. So let's kick it off with, what are your kind of thoughts? We were at the game, the Houston game. What were your kind of thoughts, how that all went down and kind of the end of the season, in Houston?
Yeah, I think overall it's pretty disappointing. When the Chargers felt like they were on such a good run at the end of the year, they had won 3 in a row. It felt like they had just gotten hot at the right time. And obviously that's when you want to be playing your best ball, right? You want to be peaking when you get to the playoffs. But it just didn't really click that day. I thought defensively the team played well. And we saw that especially early on, that they forced turnovers, they gave the offense some chances. It just wasn't the offensive day. It wasn't Justin Herbert's day. And you have to credit Houston. Even though that game was a month ago, I feel like almost a month ago. You have to credit Houston. They played well, especially up front. I think overall though, like now that we've had some time to kind of digest it, it was still a successful season, right? Like even though it was a pretty like disappointing end.
Yeah, gut shot.
But no one really thought that it was going to be one and done. Like everyone from Jim Harbaugh, everyone, in the locker room, they all kind of thought that, like I said, the Chargers were kind of ready to make a run in the playoffs. And then, it kind of ends with like a thud, right? It's just done.
Yeah.
So while the game itself is disappointing, I look at it from like a bigger picture. I think it was a pretty successful season, year one under Harbaugh, and the future looks pretty bright.
Yeah, it was definitely the, Harbaugh, the excitement. Like there's just this new kind of confidence with the team as a fan. Like it just feels different. So what was your kind of take, having spent the whole year having coached and being around it? What was it like, Harbaugh, seeing Harbaugh's first year?
It was cool. It was cool. Just because like you hear about him, right? Like kind of the aura he brings, and obviously like his reputation of being able to turn around, programs everywhere he's been, whether it's college or the NFL. And he clearly did that again here. Like whatever formula he has, like behind the scenes or really like in front of the scenes, because like who he is, what I learned quickly with him is like who he is in front of the podium is who he is in the meeting room, who he is in the locker room. He's just kind of like his genuine, authentic self, like all the time. There's no on-off switch with him. He's just all football all the time. And he clearly just like came in and like changed the program. And I think like you have to credit him and his staff, because like they came in and they're like, okay, here's the plan, right? Here's what we're going to do. And if you do this and you work hard, good things are probably going to happen. But you have to credit the players too for buying into that, because if the players don't buy in, then it doesn't work.
Yeah.
So like it kind of goes hand in hand. The players have to buy in and they have to work hard. Harbaugh and his staff have to encourage and like get the player to do that, right? And everything just kind of meshed together. And especially I think with this group of players, I wrote about it just before the playoff game. And it's different now because like we're focused on, free agency and all that. But just to like go back and turn the page real quick, this team, I put them in like three buckets, right? It was like players, like veteran players who had been here before, who were tired of losing. It was free agents who came in, right? And a lot of those guys were on 1-year deals. And then it was the rookie class. And all those three groups kind of came together and created an 11-win team, right? A very good team. It's not going to look the same next year. Like the rosters are going to be turnover. But I think everyone is excited about version 2.0. That's what Harbaugh and Joe Ortiz called it at their year-end presser. Because like I said, it just feels like the future is bright. And if Harbaugh can keep building, right, and they can keep adding to the roster and add the guys that they want, it feels like the Chargers should take another step next year.
Yeah, and there's something you said earlier that I wanted to ask you, because, when you're reporting, he's so honest that like it seems like some of his press conferences, he comes in, he's in a great mood, he's making jokes, he's having fun. And then there's other days where he looks kind of grumpy or pissed off about something. And he's the one note, like he's very honest with what he's like. What was that experience like, not knowing kind of, what the interview was going to be like that day?
Yeah, I think that's just human nature, and I think part of that too is that just that he's so locked in, right, with football. Like even from like I think training camp, like when camp started, you could tell that like the flip had switched a little bit with him, and it was all ball.
Yeah.
And there were times throughout the season, right, like when the Chargers won 4 in a row, like he was obviously in a good mood, right? The team was rolling. There were times where maybe we lost 2 or 3 or something like that, where he was like, okay, like it got to be a little bit more serious. But for the most part, I feel like he was pretty steady in the sense that like he was focused, and that he had the team focused and like ready to go. Like multiple players said to me like all year long, like it's just the way we prepare. And players say that you like hear that all the time.
Yeah.
But they said it even to like day one. Like Rashawn Slater told me like I think 2 or 3 times that like different interviews, like it goes back to how we've like set our goals back in April. Okay, like this is what we want to do. This is what we have to do to get there. And then you look up in January and you're in the playoffs and you're playing, right? So like that's sort of the formula that the Chargers followed.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love his honesty. Like it's cool. It's not like, it doesn't feel like anything's fake with him, which is really cool. Yeah. And what's your kind of, in terms of the organization, like you've been in it for these last couple of years, really going from where, and it kind of talks, what you just talked about, his culture change, but really maybe some other things that we don't, as fans don't notice the changes that you've kind of noticed in when part of the team essentially this year versus last.
Yeah, I think it just kind of what I mentioned earlier. Like Harbaugh, he's such like, I don't want to call him like a persona, but like he's just so like well respected, I think is the way to say it. Like when he comes in, you just know that he means business.
Yeah.
But he also like he asked a lot of his players, right? Like it's a tough training camp. Players, they have to work hard and practice hard, but he also tried to like reward them, with like little things throughout the season. I'm sure you guys saw like there was like a lunchbox, right? Sweatshirts, boots, stuff like that.
Cool.
Like seems like maybe like from the outside, it like seems a little bit gimmicky, right? Like he literally got everyone like a blue collar shirt, right? With like a patch, that like a mechanic would wear.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, like, he wants them to be a blue collar team, right? Ha ha. But like players love that stuff, and like they love it and kind of embrace it. And so like I said, it just kind of goes hand in hand a little bit where like he demands a lot, but then he like rewards players as well. I don't think I've ever seen a coach hand out so many game balls after a game, right? It was like 10 guys a game, right? And that's just because he wants guys to get their due, like it takes a like I would say like probably not everyone loves playing for him just because of how much he demands. Yeah. But the guys that want to play for him like love that.
Yeah. Well, and it's interesting too, like the staff, like I feel like at previous years there was always like turnover, like we would lose somebody significant into another team or something like that. And our staff has pretty much stayed intact for the most part. Like it's the same kind of thing, and that's great for the players. What are your thoughts on that? And especially Minter, him not going anywhere after the way our defensive unit played was so fun, and I'm so glad he's still here. Like, did he take any interviews? Because there's been nothing about Minter going anywhere.
Yeah, there hasn't been anything from like the national guys. I'm not sure on that, right? Like that's obviously not like any of my business. Like he's still here, right? So that's
all that matters.
That's awesome for us. But I think the one guy that we are probably going to lose, right, is Chris O'Leary. I think he's been out there. He's going to Western Michigan.
Yeah.
But other than that, like, and I will say about O'Leary real quick, like I think that's a pretty like significant loss.
Yeah.
Like I had a chance to talk to him during the season. He's just like a young guy, like full of energy, like very smart. I came away pretty impressed when I talked to him. He worked with the safeties. He worked with Derwin James a lot, and obviously Derwin had a great year. So that it's going to be a tough spot to fill. But overall, as a staff, I feel like kind of like what I mentioned about players being prepared. It felt like the staff did a great job of like having answers for players and like getting them ready to go. And especially on defense, like you mentioned, Jesse, that group saw like a pretty good amount of turnover.
Yeah.
This season, right? Like not really along the defensive line. Like that group was pretty steady. But linebacker, like Denzel missed some time. Nick Neiman missed time early in the year. Like guys were kind of shuffling in and out. Junior obviously missed some time. And then obviously we know about the DBs, like between corner and safety. It seemed like every week there was like a new starting rotation.
Yeah.
Like midway through the year.
Yeah.
And like, Elijah Molden comes in and gets a pick a week and a half after getting here. Marcus May gets one, I think 3 days after arriving. So like the group was just really prepared. I think we have to give credit to the staff for that. And I think continuity will be good on the defensive side, but also on offense. Like, it's a storyline I'm sure we're going to hit a lot, but like it seems like Justin Herbert had a new offensive coordinator almost every year he's been in college and the NFL.
Yeah.
So to have year 2 with Greg Roman, it should be a good thing, right? Like we'll have to see how that plays out in training camp and all that. But like on just like a surface level, it should be a positive for Herbert and the entire offense.
Yeah. No, and I'm excited to see what happens there because they definitely left some out there. I'm excited to see what they pick up with this upcoming year. And, talking a little bit more about the offense, it was pretty obvious in that Houston game that the middle of our offensive line had some issues, and there's definitely, I'd imagine there's going to be some changes this year. What are your kind of thoughts on what we need to do to improve our offensive line play? Because our tackles are amazing. So what are your kind of thoughts on that?
Yeah, I would say like in that Houston game, not me personally, I think it was just pretty clear that it was the entire offensive line, right? Like including the tackles. Like Rashawn and Joe both came out after the game and said like that was
they didn't play their best,
especially because like the standard that we hold them to, right? But like that they hold themselves to.
Sure,
everyone views them as like one of the best tackle pairings in the league, and that was not up to their own standard. In terms of the interior, we'll have to kind of see what happens. Like, I mean, Zion is obviously under contract. Like he'll be going into, I think, his final year of his rookie deal. So you assume he'll be there. To me, the big position to watch is center, right? It's like, what do they do at center? Because I know a lot of people, we like kind of got on Bozeman a little bit, but I thought he was like fine, right? Like for what he is and what he was, he's a veteran guy, right? Signed to a 1-year deal. Teammates like raved about him as like a leader. Like there's a reason he was voted a team captain.
Yeah.
Is he going to give you like A-level like play? Maybe not at this age, but like he's also like just consistently solid,
Sure.
We'll have to see what happens with right guard and Trey. I know that's like a popular position people are debating right now. But like I said, center, that's one that we have to watch. Like, do we bring back Bozeman? Do we draft a guy? Do we sign a guy in free agency? Like, there's a couple different avenues I think that are on the table. And then from there, I think the tackles are done, right? Tackles are figured out.
Yeah.
Left guard should be obviously Zion will slot in there. I think once you get center figured out, then you pivot to right guard and figure out what the short and long term plan is right there.
Gotcha. Yeah, and then curious your thoughts on some of these bigger contracts. Like obviously we need to extend Slater. That's big for us, and some of the other guys that are going to come with a big hit to the cap this year. What are your kind of thoughts on what the team might do to kind of position themselves to have a little bit more flexibility and not be pumping so much money into one specific player?
Are you talking about Joey?
I think I'm talking about, that was a roundabout way of saying Joey Bosa.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, we'll have to see. Joe Ortiz was asked about that at the year-end presser. That's something they're going to have to figure out. Joey did take a pay cut last year, right? Yeah. So like maybe that's on the table again. I think he was asked like, "Hey, is that high number? Is it feasible for him to have that number next year?" And Joe said, "Yeah, anything's possible." So that's the kind of stuff now, that we're in like almost like mid-February here. Now that stuff will probably start to get figured out a little bit.
Yeah.
Like I'm going to the combine in 2 weeks, right? Out to Indy. So like that's kind of when the wheels get turning on this stuff. I think 1 month from today is the start of the legal tampering period.
Yeah.
Like it's coming quick. And like we say, it just feels like a long time, right? Like we have so much time to sit here and debate, but then you look up and it's like, okay, we gotta, have this figured out in a few weeks. So I don't know. I don't know exactly what they're gonna do with Joey. Like maybe he just plays on the number, right? Like maybe he takes a pay cut. Maybe there's just a lot of options, right? Extension, like restructure, like that's for the front office to figure out.
Sure.
I think edge is a position that people are talking about because obviously Khalil, right, is a free agent too for the first time in his career. I don't know if those guys are necessarily tied together. It's like it feels like in the past, like Joey and Khalil were. I don't want to call them like a package deal, but like last year they obviously they both agreed to restructure and they said they wanted to come back and play again together. I'm not sure if that's so much the case again now.
Yeah.
But we'll have to see. We'll have to see. That's like to me, this is one of my favorite times of the year because we can sit here and talk about 10 or 15 things we want to happen, but it's just so unexpected in the NFL where like these other 5 things happen, and then it's like, okay, how do we pivot from that?
Yeah, for sure. It's like that first domino. Just one thing starts and it just starts going from there. So I'm excited. I'm excited to see what they're going to do. And then it just feels like this AFC West, like it just keeps getting stronger and stronger and stronger. Like every year there's something new. Obviously Pete Carroll is the Raiders' new head coach, and that definitely is better than where they were. What are your thoughts on this AFC West and its constant, like just improvement, around us?
I'm excited about it, because I think guys like, and especially Harbaugh, they like embrace the challenge. I don't think they want to look at it like, oh man, that's like a weak team. Like Harbaugh wants to compete.
Yeah.
Like he wants to compete. And especially with someone like Pete Carroll. I think Harbaugh was on the Dan Patrick show last week. And they asked him about it and he's like, man, I love it. Pete and I have had like a lot of battles. Like you go back to like the Stanford USC days, obviously the Niners and Seahawks, like they had some just like incredible battles over like playoff battles over the years.
Yeah.
And Harbaugh said, he's like, I actually talked to Pete on the phone. It would have been like last weekend. He said it was like for like a coaching recommendation thing, but then they like caught up for a few minutes. And that stuff is fun. Like I think Harbaugh like enjoys that and like revels in that.
Yeah.
And especially too, like he's such a competitor. And he said openly when he came back, when he came to the Chargers, when he came back to the NFL, that a main reason he came back was to win a Super Bowl, right? Like he made no secret about that. But you look around the division now, obviously Andy Reid has multiple titles. Sean Payton has one. Pete Carroll has one. Like
that's a lot.
You know that like that drives Jim, and like he wants that. He wants to get on that level.
Yeah.
And like if the Chargers were to win one and like every coach in the division has a Super Bowl, I'm not sure that's ever been done before.
No, it'll be cool. And I think there might be something to like evening the playing. It's going to be very competitive, but evening out the playing field a little bit in terms of like maybe these guys will also take a couple wins off of the Chiefs and it's not them getting swept every year. And then it makes it, I don't know, just trying to glasses half full look at what that might do for the AFC West. So we'll see. It's interesting.
Yeah. I mean, a competitive division, right? Like I would rather have a competitive division and then be like prepared for the playoffs.
Yeah.
To just kind of like cakewalk your way through it.
Yeah.
And then you get to the playoffs and you play a good team and you haven't really had that sort of battle all year. That's just my own personal opinion.
No, I completely agree. And then let's get you out of here on this. I know the combine's coming up, so it's always too early to be asking some of these questions, but while I have you, I got to ask you, we're picking 22 this year. Who you think would be the guy you would send the card in for the Chargers?
That's a good one. I think it's tough to answer that, like until I see what happens in free agency a little bit.
All the dominoes.
Like I will say, like, we've already done a couple of like our mock draft trackers at Chargers.com. Tight end obviously is a popular position for pundits right now. Probably like tight end and defensive line. And I think some of that too, like just because the Chargers need more depth at tight end, they need like a true like 1A like pass catching tight end.
Yeah.
I think we can all say that like pretty safely. But defensive line has actually been pretty popular as well. Just I think because the number of free agents that the Chargers have, like Puna Ford's a free agent, Morgan Fox, T.R. Tart, like
yeah.
I think there's a chance maybe that like not all those guys are gone, right? Just because you're a free agent doesn't mean that you're leaving.
Yeah.
We'll have to see how like the financials and like the numbers work out. But if like one or two of those guys come back, well, you still need to like kind of replace one or two more with depth, right?
Sure.
And the Chargers, I think, just could be in position to add along the D line. Maybe not on night one, right?
Yeah.
But like maybe in the first few rounds. Like right now, like receiver, people throwing out receiver.
Yeah.
I've seen some O linemen. I've seen a corner. Like
it's across the board.
Like at this point of the year, like literally half half the roster, like half the position, have been picked out, and you can really make the case for any of them.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of what I'd say. Like, I'm not going to give you like a name, right? Because like I don't know who's going to be there. Like,
sure,
we have to see what the roster looks like in late April. You know, that's still 10 weeks away.
Yeah.
But I think the Chargers could, or I think they will be in a position to kind of go a bunch of different directions depending on who's there. Like, I know a lot of people talk about like best player available. That's easy to do, like in theory, but tougher to actually practice. I think based on how Joe Ortiz has built the roster right now, and again, based on what it looks like in mid to late April, the Chargers could do that. So they could add a tight end. They could add a running back, right? That's been a position thrown out. A receiver, you know, in the trenches.
Yeah.
A corner, right? Like, it's just, and that, I think that's a good position to be in, where you don't feel like pigeonholed, where it's like, okay, we have to have this player.
Yeah.
What if that position's not deep, right, or not there at 22? Then if you maybe feel like you're scrambling, I don't think the Chargers are going to be in that position.
Yeah, I'm just getting myself prepared for hopefully a lot of late picks in the first round going forward. So just we'll see. I hope that's the case moving forward.
Yeah, and that's the difference between this year and last year too, right? Like at 5, it's like, okay,
that's all. It's easier.
Yeah, you have such a wide, you know, view of it, right? Like, okay, you know that like probably going to be this guy or this guy, like 2 or 3 guys. It could be anywhere from 10 to 12 guys right now. I don't know.
Yeah. All right, Eric, thank you so much for your time, man. This was really awesome getting to talk to you again, and we really appreciate it. And good luck at the combine and all the awesome stuff you're doing over at, you know, with the Chargers. We love it, and we appreciate your time, man.
All right, man. I appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, Mr. Smith, I'm sorry. I must have been looking at some old documentation there. Not senior writer, editorial director. Thank you.
Just stronger. I love the vibe.
Hey,
I love
man,
that.
he's in charge of stuff. He's not just working. He's running shit over there. They got to answer to him. So that was great, dude. What a great insight into everything that's been going on. I love the idea about like Pete Carroll. Like, I think it adds to like how this season went for us, because I think a lot of people were saying that like our strength of schedule wasn't as up to par with some of the other teams that went further. They're like, yeah, you got 11 wins, but look at who you beat.
Yeah.
This is like, okay, well, how about this, bitch? We've got Pete Carroll, Andy Reid, and frickin' Sean Payton to go up against twice a year.
Yeah.
So how much more stronger do you want it to be?
Yeah,
dude.
Yeah.
Like I think, and I love that. That's what that's what Harbaugh enjoys, because it's like, yeah, dude, I want to say that I beat these guys. I want to say that when I got to the end, look at the wake that I left, like the everything that I had to get through to get to this point, and it wasn't easy. We went up against some real tough people, so I love that. And folks, for those of you who are on Patreon, you got to ask Mr. Smith a question, and we were going to be posting that on Friday. So another reason, folks, to head on over to patreon.com/ChargerChat. When you join, you have that opportunity. When you join at the $10 level, not only do you get these sweet little patches, you also get to ask questions whenever we have these special interviews. And I'm pretty sure we've probably got some more coming in hot here in the not too distant future.
And they're pretty funny. You guys, the guys on Patreon make it funny, made him laugh a couple times. So it was good. It was good stuff.
Hey, that's what it's all about. So, Mr. Smith, thank you so much again for coming and sitting down with Kevin. We really appreciate it. And now, folks, it's time to go on to the next segment, Ask Boltfam.
Time to put your money where your mouth is.
Hi, guys. Don't jam a thumb up his butthole. That's what you do. I wet myself in excitement.
Oh, so hungry.
Your thoughts are like totally appreciated. Catch you later, dude.
Okay, love you, boy. That's right, folks. Time for Ask Boltfam. We start at the top with Carl Bollingtoft. Carl! Who asked the question? Did you end up going to your chief fan friend's Super Bowl party, Kevin? And if so, how good of a time did you have?
Pretty nice.
Pretty nice.
Pretty good time. Yeah, it was. It's hard because there was nobody really there that was like aggressive. So everyone, I felt kind of bad for them when they started to get their asses kicked. You know, it's just the energy. I don't know. I just didn't feel like going like chipping at them. You know. So
good for you.
It was.
You're growing.
I'm a
New
big
year,
boy
new
now.
I'm proud of you. Yeah.
What did I secretly in my heart rejoice every single time that something negative happened to the Chiefs? Yeah, but I kept it in here.
I remember there was one. I don't remember the play. I don't remember what happened, but
I got loud. I remember like, yes.
You're like, yes. That's as loud as it's gonna get. That's it. I'm done. You like look at me like I'm good.
Rein it in.
Okay, I got it.
Well, I was eating free Chipotle and having some free drinks. I'm not gonna spit in the face of the Chiefs fans.
That's when we moved ourselves away so we could celebrate in our own little.
It was funny too because they had a one of their friends was a Broncos fan, and we went to the Broncos Chiefs game with and he came over and hang out with us, and we were all like fist pumping and stuff when they were sucking. So it's universal.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's like we had a moment with him, and it was nice.
Yeah, good times were had by us.
Yes,
Mr. Bowlingtoft. Thank you for asking the question. Let's move it on now to Ulysses Pineda Fong, who asked the question.
I slept so good last night knowing all the Casey was so sad, bitching and crying. Watching Mahomes be sad on TV was just so beautiful. The only thing he was missing was just a massive teabag right on his forehead. Sack to the dome. That's what happened last night. Let us all rejoice. Gents, I hope you survived the Chiefs watch party. I also hope that you intentionally LOL'd the whole time while the Chiefs were getting kicked in the taint. To a question, what was your favorite food item that you had at your respective Super Bowl watching locations? Chargers Super Bowl incoming. Suck an unclean butt, Chiefs. K love you, bye.
Good one. Gross. Yucky. Sack to the dome. Yeah. He doesn't know how to. It's so interesting because like he just doesn't know how to lose. Like he's just like, that poor sport kid that like you have to pull aside and tell him he's embarrassing you as a father. Like I don't think that ever happened to him. Like his dad probably never did that to him because he didn't lose much in his life. And it kind of comes out when you see him like pouting and, just being Patrick Mahomes.
Big bottom lip.
Yeah, dude, that Super Bowl could have gone so bad for us as Charger fans. If they win that, they three-peat. They're like, now they're on that. Are they better than the Patriots dynasty? Is Patrick Mahomes better than Tom Brady? They've the first team to ever three-peat. That could have gone really bad. Mm-hmm. And I'm so grateful that it didn't.
I am too.
Yeah. It sucked
not
too because they
hear it all year.
And it sucked too because they weren't like the ESPN NFL Network. They weren't really giving the Eagles props. They were more talking about how Mahomes and Brady. Like, I just didn't like how that. I don't know. It is what it is. It's over now.
It is over. But that wasn't the question. The question was, what was our favorite food?
Oh, sorry.
that we had.
They had some of these gourmet cookies.
That's what I was going to say.
These crumble. Well, I'll set it up and you knock it down. But it was like these like really crazy. It was in like this customized box.
The packaging looked like something you would get at like an Oscar party, like giveaway. Like it was insane how each cookie was individually wrapped, and they all had crazy names. Like the chocolate chip cookie was better than sex. They had a banana pudding one that was like Donkey Kong.
Doubt that.
Yeah. I'm telling you, these are all.
I tried it.
It wasn't,
but it's a damn good cookie. I'm
damn good cookie. Yeah.
They had like 12 of them. They were all different flavors, and we all like kind of cut them up, had little pieces of them all. It's fun.
Yeah. What about you, Coach?
Yeah. Did you have anything good?
No, I wasn't at a fancy party, like an Oscars party like you guys. I did have a delicious crock pot queso though, which was
that's
very good. Chips were good. They were like seasoned. They were like they almost tasted like Doritos, but they were like good quality tortilla chips with some seasoning on it. It was good.
That sounds good.
I'm hungry.
I want
making my mouth water. All right. Well, there you go, Mr. Ulysses Pineda Fong. Thank you for asking the question. Let's move it on now to OM Run, who asked the question. How great is it to see the Chiefs get demolished in the first game where the refs were too scared to show favoritism? The real fun is watching the pundits get flamed for saying this game disproved the ref theory. I'm happy as a pig in shit. I'm not always a good person. It still feels great, though.
That's funny.
Yeah,
I'm not always a good person,
but it's fucking great. No, going on X and seeing all of the crybabies about like you guys have been complaining about the refs all year. Well, what do you got to say now?
Yeah, and it worked.
This is what happens.
Yeah,
this is what happens when it's fair. You get your ass kicked.
Make your voice heard.
That's what we've been asking for. What are you talking about? You have no ground to stand on. When it's fair and you don't get calls, you lose by 40 in the Super Bowl. It proves our point. You idiots.
Yeah, it is this is the most schadenfreude Super Bowl I think for us in a long time, and I don't understand the argument. Like that was the whole point. Like you nuts. Like
you're dumb. You're just dum-dums.
Yeah, like the
Stellan's coming for you.
Yeah, you suck.
The gif floating around of Patrick Mahomes getting rocked in the mush while the ball's getting pulled out the back and like no flag being called. They're just like, where in the flag? Like, you had all regular season.
Welcome to our world.
Every game they call that.
And now the Super Bowl, the big stage comes around, and guess what? Didn't go that way.
Used up all your magic, boys. Sorry. Dumb.
I think I know why. I don't know if you saw Patrick Mahomes going to the stadium, but he was wearing an Eagles colored suit.
Did see that.
That is some cocky ass shit right there.
What an idiot.
So
deal with that.
That's tough. That's a tough look now. Huh,
Tough look.
Well, there you go. OM Run, thank you for asking the question. Let's move it on now to Brandon, who asked the question.
Yar, hello, ye scallywags and landlubbers. I have been taking some time to lay low and mend me broken heart, spend me sorrows away in the treacherous lands of Vegas, and met the fine cat, a true inspiration. Ye all best be getting to know that wondrous soul. Now, 2 questions for ye. First, ain't it a grand thing that we be having steady hands in the helm with our coaching? I reckon Mentor will stay steady till Harbaugh's days be done, then take the wheel himself. Second, let's make a game of it, ye salty dogs. Each of ye must christen your mate with a pirate name. As always, FTR, FTB, FTC, SMB, and a big, beautiful booby field sails. Yar, I love y'all. Now be off with ye.
Pirate theme.
This is my favorite. When I get to like really lean into it, when you give me the lingo, Brandon.
Yeah.
Love that.
Good
Thank
script.
you. Good script. No notes.
No notes.
Let's see. Questions. As far as Jesse Minter staying with Harbaugh, and when Harbaugh's done, Minter taking the wheel.
Ooh. Heir apparent?
I don't know if he's going to hang out for 8 years or so.
That'd be sick.
Just chilling.
Let's just say yes. Let's just go with it. We're just positive.
I love it. I'm in it. No notes.
I love it.
I mean, considering that this was a year that the defense gave up the least amount of points, and he didn't get an interview from anybody, and also didn't get nominated for best assistant coach.
Yeah.
Not even a nomination. You didn't even nominate the guy that gave up the fewest amount of points.
To first in 1 year.
What in the hay? Don't get it. Don't understand it. But the idea of Harbaugh going and then bringing Minter, I mean, It doesn't happen very often, does it? At least not lately. Like head coaches are just
anymore.
like, we just pick guys from whoever's
usually
doing great.
You're usually firing the coach because everything was it was terrible. It was awful. You don't promote within if things are terrible. You look out. So I don't know how often that actually happens. But
I mean, the only one,
happened to the Patriots, and that didn't go so well.
Well, I was going to say it happened with
man.
the Raiders, but that was more of like, we're going to fire this guy, bring in this guy temporarily, but then we're going to keep this guy as a head coach, and that didn't really go so well. So I don't know.
Fire him. Yeah.
I think Minter will
They just
be,
firing coaches.
Yeah.
I think he likes it. I think it's a little bit of a power trip for Davis. He's like, yeah, you can come. I'm going to fire you because I love it, but you can come hang out.
It's my favorite thing in the world. We're going to go to P.F. Chang's.
I'll fire you at P.F. Chang's.
Yeah. Don't open the fortune cookie. All right, but let's give each other some pirate names.
I got Wool Dogs.
Uh-oh. Here we go.
He is a dog, right?
Uh-oh.
We're calling you Mange.
Mange.
Yeah, Mange.
Keep out for Captain Mange.
And he's foaming, foaming at the mouth. Yeah. Yeah, you're Mange.
Oh, let's see.
I'm not good at this.
Yeah, let's lean into some
ask.
things.
I'm going to ask ChatGPT.
Uh-oh. Okay.
Wait. Okay. All right. ChatGPT has an answer.
Uh-oh.
What is it?
Pirate name for a man named Kevin who loves hugging people. Here's what they came up with. Huggin Captain Kevin, the warm-hearted McSnuggles. Or Kevin Hugs a Plenty, the sea worm.
Kevin Hugs a Plenty.
Or Captain Kevin Bear Hug Blackbeard. Ooh, that one's good.
Bear Hug
Blackbeard.
Yeah.
Cool. I'll take any of those.
Cool. Thanks, ChatGPT.
Pillage your shit.
Oh boy, I'm still trying, but I don't want to use the ChatGPT lifeline. I'm going to go with Captain Coach McForsons.
McForsons. Coach McForsons. That's good.
Coach McForsons. Captain Coach McForsons to you, you swabby.
I love that.
All right, that's a.
That's
I'm not
a tough
as
question.
creative
We
as
should've looked at that ahead of time. Yeah.
AI, apparently. But hey, there you go, Brandon. Thank you, buddy, for asking the question. Now we go on to a name I have not heard in a long time. I'm talking about Jeeves,
The D is silent.
who asked
So
the
silent.
question.
God, this is cool.
Motherfucker, I went through that whole motherfucking halftime show without cursing once. These motherfuckers said Samuel Jackson, you can't cuss. Motherfucker, I said motherfuckers, I'm Samuel motherfucking Jackson. That's what I motherfucking do. These motherfuckers are tripping. Anyways, motherfuckers, it's been a while. I've been watching and listening in motherfucking shadows. That motherfucking Super Bowl was fun to motherfucking watch, huh? Motherfucking Mahomes was throwing ducks out there. See what motherfucking happens when the motherfucking refs call a motherfucking fair game? The motherfucking Chiefs. Okay. As for my motherfucking question, put on your motherfucking GM hats. What's your first order of motherfucking business this offseason? What's priority number motherfucking one? More riveting motherfucking questions coming, motherfuckers. Oh yeah, and the motherfucking Raiders. K-love you, bye, motherfuckers.
Oh,
Gosh.
Jeeves.
Good
Welcome
luck
back,
in post
dude.
bleeping all of those, my friend.
This is classic Jeeves. I haven't heard him in so long. I need the exercise, Jeeves.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Jeeves is like our off-season sweetheart. He
Yes.
just comes back and warms us back up.
We should put Jeeves uncensored on Patreon. You just get you asking if you want to hear that without the beeps because it's extra funnier. Yeah, that'll be on patreon.com/ArcherChat.
Perfect. More work for me.
Sorry.
All right, Kevin, you're the
okay.
GM. What's your right now? We got to get this done. What's the top of the list?
My heart says J.K. Dobbins. My body says Rashawn Slater. My mind is telling me no. My body telling me Slater.
In my head, the Slater thing is just a done deal. It's just a matter of when. Like, it's gonna get done. But obviously, if I didn't know that for sure, franchise left tackle is obviously your number one priority. Get that done. But I think that's just going to be a agent, GM, mumbo jumbo, figuring out the little details and how much he gets up front and what the ops are and all that stuff. So I think that gets done. I just think, I don't know. I would love to go into the draft with a little bit more security on the offensive side of the football. I think you have to seal up one of those offensive line positions, whatever it's going to be. If you like when talking to Eric Smith, if it's bringing Bozeman back for another season because you think he could get better, or you're okay with an average center and you're going to bolster up everything else to be able to kill people, that's great. But I think getting there's some big hot positions that need to get addressed, and it's offensive line and it's wide receiver. I think those two have to get addressed. But then again, the running back spot with J.K. Dobbins as a free agent, that scares me too. I think, but I could almost see that going a little bit longer. I could see maybe seeing what happens in the draft. I see some mock drafts having Ashton Jeanty falling all the way to us at 21.
Be insane. I would love
that. And if that happens, I mean,
insane.
you have a cheap rookie contract. You don't have all the injuries that JK, as much as I love JK, the guy gets hurt every single year. And he's not getting any younger. So it would be, I could see the running back position taking a little bit more time and waiting for the draft to happen first. But like that offensive line, getting one of those positions sealed up and then a veteran wide receiver, I think is like a no-brainer. That's top of the list.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would see tight end. If you can figure it, like just figuring out what are you going to do? Is it going to be free agency? Is it going to be draft? Are you going to get somebody that's going to grow with Justin Herbert? Or are you going to get somebody that is proven able to do it? What are you going to do? I mean, what's interesting is the wide receiver free agency pool is getting bigger and bigger. Now seeing that like Deebo Samuel now is not going to be with the 49ers, wants a trade. It's just like, geez.
Yeah, and they're talking about Devontae Adams maybe not going
Another
back to
name,
the Jets.
Yeah, he's a free agent, isn't he?
Yeah, I think I think so, yeah. It's just that they don't re-sign him. If he doesn't go back to the Jets, which I don't know why you would want to, because Aaron Rodgers is gone.
Aaron Rodgers is gone, yeah.
Aaron Rodgers is already gone, yeah. There's no way. That's the only reason he wanted to go there, so I'm sure he's going to go somewhere else.
Yeah. So it's going to be interesting to see what the wide receiver is, but I would say priority number one to me is tight end. Figure that part out, because I mean I'm tired of the carousel that Justin Herbert's been dealing with that position ever since we lost Hunter Henry. So let's get that nailed down. Let's have a foreseeable future with that position, please.
Yeah, that's what leads me to believe it's going to be in the draft, because I feel like the last 4 seasons we've brought in a veteran to be a stopgap guy, see if we can get something out of him, and it's just kind of continually not performed up to what we need. That's what leads me to believe they're going to use pretty good draft capital to try to go get a good tight end in the draft. And
quick question? I want to propose you something. Tyler Warren,
propose away.
If he is at 22, or Ashton Jeanty is at 22, who are you taking?
I would say Jeanty. As much as I know tight end is a priority, that's a talent that
you saw who just won the Super Bowl.
You have not seen a talent like that in how long? The guy broke so many records.
Yeah, he's kind of a freak.
He's kind of a freak. You want the freak.
But so is Tyler Warren.
I'm not saying he's not.
He is a monster.
Yeah.
That would be hard.
Those guys are there.
It's hard. That would be harder for me. Like if those two guys are there, it would be a harder decision than just saying like, Jeanty. So I don't know.
Yeah. Fun. I like the hypotheticals.
Fun. Yeah, no, these are good. We're gonna have a whole off season of these, folks. Buckle up. Jeeves, so good to hear from you, dude. Thank you, buddy, for asking the question.
Please, motherfucking come back, please.
Tony James is next on the list.
More bleeps.
Who asked the question?
Let's see. The Chiefs lost because their O-line was taken apart by the defense. Now, what are our issues? Our line is not a wall, and that's what we need for Herbert, an outside receiver and another running back and an edge rusher.
Yeah, there's going to be so many question marks. I mean, I know I say that I feel every year, but feels more so than not, because it's like half the team was signed to a 1-year deal. So it's like, all right, are we bringing some of these guys back? Are we letting them go? Are we going out?
Most of our D linemen are gone. Like, they're not gone, but they're not under contract here.
Right,
Tart,
exactly. Yeah.
Boone Ford, Morgan Fox, none of those guys are under contract right now. They're all so it's a wild situation right now. It's hard to hypothesize where this goes, because we barely know who our team is. Like, we have half a roster right now in terms of guys that have put pen to paper and are really a Charger next year.
Yeah.
And it feels like if you were going to keep those guys for more than a year, why didn't you give them more of a deal coming into the season? You could have got them for cheaper. Now, some of those guys like Tier Tart, Boone Ford played really well. You're going to have to pay them that much more. So as much as I want those guys back, it doesn't feel like we're going to get a lot of those 1 year, because a lot of those one year deal guys played really well, and now they're going to be demanding more money. So I think we're going to have a pretty big shakeup in our roster going into next season.
Yeah, those are prove it deals, and those are guys that have come back and said, "Hey, we proved it, right? Defense, we allowed the fewest amount of points," and like, you did, but
now you're
look at so much money.
So it is going to be, and those are all areas that I think need to be addressed for sure, and we'll figure out where that ends up going. But we just saw on the big stage, like you said, Kyle, 4-man rush was able to penetrate, and that's just wild that they were able to be that disruptive with only 4 guys.
Yep.
And we'll see if that gets addressed for the Chargers as well. But Mr. James, thank you for asking the question.
Thanks, Tony.
We move it on now to Peaky Bolts, who asked the question.
Well, boys, once again, defense proves they win championships. Ortiz, if you're listening, go resign Mac. Draft corners and interior linemen, and do whatever it takes to trade for Myles Garrett. There will be those who say, no way I'd give up 2 firsts for more for Myles. But you're looking past the fact that he's the best defensive player in the NFL. Future first-round picks are always a crapshoot. Myles is definitely worth our 22nd pick this year. And keep in mind that our 2026 first-rounder will probably be in the high 20s, maybe even the 30s. So that's basically giving up a second-rounder. Ortiz, if you're listening, go trade for Myles Garrett now. My question to you fellas, what would you do?
All right. Yes. I mean, Kevin, I think we all talked about Myles Garrett, the potential for getting that guy and what you'd have to give up to get him.
Yeah, it's exciting. That worked.
I mean, do you
out.
agree with him? The multiple first rounders for basically getting the best defensive player. And we saw how well the Eagles just did. And I mean, if they're low first rounders, you're not exactly giving away like a top 5 pick. You're giving away bottom first round. This year, next. I don't know.
If you could find a way to move Joey and not take that hit, like on any of that money, I think that works. I think I could get behind this.
Yeah.
We're seeing what they did in the late rounds in the draft, and we're going to have a ton of picks. Like, it gives me a little confidence that you could do this and get away with it as opposed to previous regime. But that would just be really cool to have. Miles.
Yeah. He's making 18 million this year. Cap hit is 19 and 20 for the next 2 years, which, I mean,
that's less than Joey.
A bit of a bargain. Yeah. It feels like a bit of a bargain for Myles Garrett. So as far as cap hit goes, it's not. If you can get Joey out of that on the trade to be able to make the books look better, it's just a matter of the difference between Myles Garrett and all those first round picks is all those first round picks combined won't make the same amount of money as Myles Garrett. So if you have faith in your GM to pick the studs in the first round, you want to keep those picks because that's how you build a sustainable winning every year team. You don't do it by blockbuster deals. The Chiefs never do that. The Chiefs draft really well. And then when guys get cut because they're unhappy, they scoop them up in the middle of the season because they're always good. And that's where players want to go. So that's where you create like this sustained, winnable, under the cap, you have room every year to be able to make moves and get better. Whereas when you give up that many first round picks, man, it's you got to be that one position away from winning a Super Bowl, and then it could all collapse once that season's over, like it did for the Rams for a couple of years. So I have hesitations for sure of giving up all those first round picks. If they do it, I'll be pumped. If I was the GM, I probably would not do it. I would probably bet on myself to pick the right guys at a better price and be able to perform and have some sustainable success instead of just like a blurb. But as a Charger fan, I just want to get to a Super Bowl, for God's sake. So if they do it, sweet.
Yeah, by any means.
Could you imagine him and Khalil Mack?
Yeah, disgusting.
Just gross.
It's disgusting.
But then you have to be able to afford to put people on the inside too. I mean, that's why the Eagles were so good. Jalen Carter up the middle was just insanity.
A man with playing against boys is what that guy is.
Yeah.
And
I think if you get Myles Garrett, I don't know if you're going to bring back Khalil. I think that's a whole lot of money tied up on the edge.
Man, we'll see. But folks, if you are not following Peaky Bolts over on X, you're doing yourself a disservice. The guy is putting up funny ass graphics on a regular basis, and this last week was no exception. He made one for the Super Bowl, and I just want to share that with you folks.
Yeah, it's so good.
I mean, what a classic. What a classic magazine cover. Ref, for those of you that are listening and not watching, ref on the ground, hand in the air, Philly guy holding him, helping him up, and Andy Reid just staring at him. Meanwhile, Travis Kelce is holding Patrick Mahomes to his bosom
Consoling.
in the background. Yes. So it's he's
so good, dude. Keep up the great work.
Keep up the great work, Mr. Bolts. We love it. And definitely go follow him, folks, on X, Peaky Bolts. You will not be disappointed. Well, there you go, Mr. Peaky Bolts. Thank you for asking the question. Let's move on now to Arnie Gordon, who asked the question.
Following the Super Bowl shutdown job the Eagles did on the Chiefs, is defense wins championships back on the menu for the Chargers in the draft and free agency? Bolt up, kill if you buy.
Well, that defense shut down Mahomes really well. So, yeah.
And Kelce. Kelce was
quiet
didn't
the
have
whole
game.
No answers whatsoever. So, yeah, we need to play against them twice a year like that. That'd be great. I'll take it. That definitely wins the championship, in my opinion.
Yeah. There was a lot of talk lately of the Chiefs being so good offensively that it doesn't matter what defense you put out there. You got to be able to keep up with them scoring points. I think that narrative is gone. Like, that was a couple of years ago. Now, if you can play out of this, they're not good enough. That offense is not good enough to just boat race you anyways. So I think obviously our defense got a lot better, and look, we won 11 games. So yeah, keeping it. You have to have an all around team. You have to have an offense and a defense. But I think with what we're doing through the draft, we now have 2 corners that we drafted in the 5th round. They're going to be starting for the foreseeable future. You have Derwin James already locked up for forever. Dayon is killing it as a second-year drafted guy. So it's like, keep building for sure. We're obviously not like, oh, we're good, we don't need to get any better on defense. But yeah, the Chiefs are not just this offensive juggernaut that they were 3-4 years ago that you just have to try to keep up with offensively. You can definitely put a little emphasis on the defense and be able to stop them.
Yeah, there you go, Mr. Gordon. Thank you for asking the question. Let's move on now to Pissed Off Canuck.
Certified
who
fresh.
asked the question.
The question for the offseason, load up on D free agencies and draft to make a strength even better, but at the expense of oil. He's a hard time with his oils.
So subtitles for that were question for the offseason, load up on the D and through free agencies and draft to make the strength even better, but at the expense of the O. I think you got to put some money on the O, man.
You got to give Justin a little bit more help there.
Yeah, we saw that this last season for sure.
Yeah, you got the
I think
Ferrari. You need to give him the good tires and the tune up on the engine.
Yeah, I think obviously the goal is to be the best all around football team, and that would be the coach's answer if you ask them. But it does feel like with Jesse Minter, he's going to put the guys in the best spots. Like our defensive roster, top to bottom, was not that insane. We had 2 Pro Bowlers. We had Derwin James and Khalil Mack, and then Joey got in on an alternate spot. But it wasn't like, Well,
On the
defensively.
defense.
Oh, defense. Got it.
Yeah. So defense, it's not like the roster was just stacked. Like we just had studs at every position, and that's why we were good on defense. I think we just had great scheme, and they knew what they needed to do, and they executed. So if you can toss a couple of upgrades throughout the defensive roster, I think it's going to go a long ways. But you can't just neglect the offense. We have to be able to run the football. Greg Roman is not going anywhere. He's going to be our offensive coordinator next year. And to be able to successfully execute and be the best team we can, we have to be able to run the football. And we were not able to do that with the offensive line that we have right now. So that has to get shored up. And you need a big time wide receiver to be able to defenses to have to respect that and lighten the box. So I think both is the answer, but I don't think it's more D than O. I think it's going to be a balanced addition this offseason.
All right. Mr. Canuck, don't be so pissed off. Thank you for asking the question. Let's move it on now to Andrew Ramsey, who asked the question.
Drewski.
Under the sea, Gavin is better down where it's wet to take it from me.
Take it from me.
Up on the shore, Kai works all day. Out in the sun, he slaves away. While we devoting full time to floating under the sea.
Under the sea.
Now is the time for me to rise to my feet. Wipe your spit from my face. Wipe these tears from my eyes. I've got to take my life back. One chance to make it right. I gotta have my voice be heard. I will be heard. Let's give them something to talk about. Let's give them something to talk about. Let's give them something to talk about. How about love? Love. Shoo-boo, ba-da. Anywho, questions. That was bipolar, wasn't it, Kyle? Did that mess with your mind? Speaking of bipolar, are we officially in bipolar season? As no one seems to know what the draft is going to be like because of all the needs we have. Free agency, the plentiful cap space, etc. That being said, who of the three has the best setup chance to make a leap next season? A Big B, Rice, or Johnson? Are they too much in the hole, or is there still hope? K, love you, bye.
You
Ramsey's
always
all over the
zig
place.
when we think you're going to zag, Andrew.
Yeah.
Well done.
That was a lot to digest.
It did mess with my head. That was insane. I had no idea what was going on.
He was a little scared. I could see it in his eyes.
Yeah.
But as far as the main question here, taking a leap, a Big B was pretty quiet. Rice never even sniffed the field. And Johnson, I don't know if he's talking about Zion Johnson, Cornelius Johnson.
We got a lot of Johnsons.
There's a lot of Johnsons, Mr. Johnson. You got to be a little bit more specific. Big B and Rice, we can discern.
I'm assuming it's Quentin Johnson.
Oh,
Johnston
Quentin. Well, that's Johnston. That's
I know.
That's a horse with a different
I think
color.
it's Zion.
Maybe
Show
Zion.
me Zion.
Yeah, we'll
Top
go with
answer
Zion.
on the
Let's just
board.
go with Zion for the question.
Yes.
But
I
biggest
say-
leap.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I think
You were about to say.
Boygby was drafted so high. He was clearly a developmental guy. I think he'll probably have more of a playing time than he's having a better. I don't know.
Well, the leap. It's the idea of who's going to have a
He's
big
going to
leap.
get better.
And I think-
Actually, I take it back.
Yeah.
We're going to say Zion. If we get him a better center and a better other guard, I think he'll have a leap.
Okay. I was going to agree with you because the leap from no playing time to playing time is a pretty big leap.
Yeah.
So I
that's a good
think
leap.
I think Boygby's got a good chance to leap pretty big this offseason. I mean, he was kind of injury guy in college. I think he got hurt his senior year. We still drafted him as a developmental piece. I think now he's got a whole season as a professional with money and all of the opportunities to get bigger and stronger and healthy. And so I think he's got, and now he's got opportunity with how much free agency we have down there and in the interior. He's going to have every shot to go and take a spot. So I think as far as biggest leap, like change from last year to this year of those three guys, I think it would be him.
Yeah.
I would agree. I mean, because, but I want to see.
Unless you think Brendan Rice is going to go off.
I was going to say Rice, man. There was never really much talked about with him as far as like where he's at. Is he going to play? Like, I think he played in the preseason, if I remember correctly. I don't know.
Yeah,
if
he didn't.
Yeah,
they targeted him a bunch in the preseason, but he just didn't quite.
Well, yeah,
come out.
That'll be interesting to see what they do with the backup quarterback position. If they can hold on to Heineke, because that's another chunk of money you're going to have to set aside if you do want to hold on to him.
I think you do. I think he's much better than other options.
I do too, but is that not like a low round draft or for a backup quarterback position that, save some money in the draft? I don't know. I'll be curious to see what they do. Only time will tell. But there you go, Mr. Ramsey. Thank you for asking the question. Let's move on now to Friar Bolt, who asked the question.
It's the Super Bowl nobody wanted, but every Chargers fan enjoyed watching the Chiefs get spanked. Now is the start of a new season. Who do you think are going to be the new additions to the team via free agency? Dream list and more realistic? Bolt up, K, love you, bye.
All right. New additions to the team via free agency. Dream list and more realistic. Well, I think the dream list, I think we can all come together right now over me, say T. Higgins.
Yeah, that's yeah, I'm so on the T. Higgins bandwagon for hopefully he gets out of there and they don't re-sign him. Don't know how they will. They're not really known for making huge contract splash, especially with the other needs they have.
Well, and the other wide receiver they have.
Yeah, Chase. Yeah. Like, I don't know how you pay both those guys. Like, that's just crazy.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I want.
Anything
Higgins,
different, Kyle, or
Myles
a more
Garrett.
realistic one? Yeah, Myles Garrett would be great.
That would be insane. Yeah, I don't know. I haven't really looked at all the other free agents. Give me the top center available too. Like, if we're talking like dream free agency, you can
I think it was
anyone.
a Kansas City center that.
Then never mind.
I
take it back.
center.
No,
He's got Creed. That's
young.
Creed Humphreys. He's
yeah.
Who am I thinking? So there was another name.
It's the
Jensen,
Indianapolis Colts. He's like the top one right now. My brain's not working. Kelly, maybe not. Maybe
I'm looking it up. I'm not asking ChatGPT. Ryan Kelly is on here.
Ryan Kelly.
Drew Dahlman, the Atlanta Falcons wide receiver, is currently ranked at number 1. So give me him. I'll take him. We're talking dream free agencies. Give me the top free agent at every position. Add him to the Chargers. Dream free agency.
Okay.
Love it.
Honestly, I think my more dream list would be bringing back like Keenan Allen. Maybe even Mike Williams. If the price is
Did you
right.
see they were hanging out?
Did
you see they were hanging out during the Super Bowl?
It warmed my heart.
They're buddies.
I know. They like each other.
You know how we used to do draft pick? Like, you used to do like team captains and you pick your teams and you did M&M pack and you got to pick 2 at a time? It's just M&M pack them back to the Chargers.
Yeah. Come on.
Just
love
kill
that.
them both.
Please.
I love that.
All right. Friar Bolt, thank you, buddy, for asking the question. Let's move on now to Athir Kadir.
Kadir.
Who asked the question? Judge it, chat, baby, and Boltfam. Do not be sad or discouraged because we're not at the Super Bowl, baby. I promise next year is our year, baby. I have loved my Thunder Rally and watch party for the draft and the games. Just imagine at the Super Bowl, baby. It will be out of control. I'm guessing we'll be police there. LMAO, baby. Now to my question. I got 2 parts, please, baby. Part 1, most likely to happen. Ladd wins Offensive Player of the Year, or Herbert becomes 7th QB in the NFL history to win the regular season MVP and Super Bowl MVP, baby. That'll lead to my season bowl prediction. Stay tuned in July, baby. LOL. Part 2, most likely Chargers fans will pack the house in San Francisco Super Bowl, or the defense allows only 10 points, baby. We start with my lovely coach Kyle, followed by my awesome friend Kevin, and we finish with my heart, my love, my baby, my life forever, Wolldog. P.S. Wolldog and Kevin, I need an answer. Not only Coach Kyle, please, baby. K, love you, bye, baby. We'll do what we can.
Let's do it for Athir. Let's do it for Athir.
For Athir. All right, Kyle. Part 1, most likely, Ladd Offensive Player of the Year, or Herbert win regular season MVP and Super Bowl MVP?
Well, I feel like if Ladd's going to win Offensive Player of the Year, that means Herbert's going to have to go off too, because he's the one getting him the rock.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, in my opinion, I think the most likely would be Herbert to get MVP and Super Bowl MVP before Ladd wins Offensive Player of the Year.
Interesting.
Because if they bring in like a number 1 wide receiver and Ladd's number 2, and he's still going off and having a potential MVP year as a number 2 guy or 1A, 1B, that means 1A is also getting fed, which means, Justin's
killing
gonna get it all.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So you agree with Justin getting both, Kev?
I concur.
All right. I would also have to say, Aether, I mean, the logic in me says, well, one person getting an award is better than a person getting 2 awards, but I think the logic behind Herbert being the guy flinging the rock makes the most sense. And then part 2, what's more likely, Chargers fans packing the house in San Francisco or the defense only allowing 10 points?
In the Super Bowl.
In the Super Bowl.
Well, I'm coming off the energy of what just happened, so I would say that we can hold them to 10. Because I don't know if you can pack. I don't know if you can pack a Super Bowl house, because those tickets are so freaking expensive, dude. Mm-hmm. That'd be hard as hell.
Yeah. But to have it Super Bowl at least be in the state that the Chargers reside in,
San Francisco is just as far away. It's further away than most other places we could go to. It's like, it is the same state, but it's so far away from LA.
Well, I'm not saying for us. It's for everybody else in California, you dingus.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, I think it's more likely you get. I don't know if a Super Bowl is ever really like overrun by actual fans of the teams. It's just like businesses and ticket giveaways and I don't know.
Bradley Cooper.
Yeah, personally, I would rather be able to watch the Super Bowl with like a big group of Charger fans on the TV than go to the Super Bowl and be sitting with randoms that you don't know. And so I'll go with it. Allows only 10 points. Super Bowl prediction.
Well, Theo, we're all unanimous here. I think we were more likely to allow only 10 points at the Super Bowl. So,
and I'm waiting for July, Theo. This is a long wait for me. But I'm excited. But I think you already gave us your prediction, like
he gives
last year.
I think 20 predictions.
Unless there's a new one. We got a new one. I'm excited.
I'm looking forward to it, Athea. Thank you, buddy, for asking the question. And we go out of Ask Boltfam with Tony Francis.
Tony,
who asked the question. Listen up, soldiers. The kingdom is on fire. I repeat, the kingdom is on fire. And I'm smiling from ear to ear. What an amazing Super Bowl. Kermit the Frog looked like dog shit. The refs finally called a fair and balanced game, and Andy Reid looked like a sad walrus on the sideline. My first question is directed at you, Coach. Now that the Super Bowl is over, it's Chargers off season time. What's the first position Joe Ortiz needs to address, and why do you realistically think we can land Myles Garrett? My next question is directed at you, Kev. Did you leave an upper decker for those pesky Chiefs fans at your Super Bowl party? Also, what was it like watching those fans get absolutely destroyed the entire game? And my last question is directed at you, Wool Dog. At what point in the game did you begin to feel sorry for the Chiefs fans? F that, soldier. Trick question. How can we ever feel sorry for Chiefs fans? They've been to 5 of the last 7 Super Bowls. It's our turn, cadet. The real question is, at what point during the Super Bowl did you pull your pants down to your ankles and scream, suck my butt? F the Raiders, burn the kingdom, kick the donkeys, and suck my butt. All right, first question is directed at you, Coach. We've kind of been talking about this most of this Ask Boltfam, but first position Joe Ortiz needs to address, and why?
I think it's going to be whatever the biggest money move that you're going to make, because then everything else can kind of fall off of that. Whatever you're going to put the most money into, whether it be a big time wide receiver, like if you're going to get T. Higgins, go get him first. Get that money settled. That way you kind of know what you have to work with the rest of the way. So I don't know what that position is going to be. I would assume it's going to be wide receiver, but maybe it is pass rusher. Maybe you go get Myles Garrett and be crazy. But whatever the big splash is going to be, I would like to see that first. So then you can kind of know what you got to work with the rest of the way.
And do you think it's realistic we can get Myles?
I mean, I don't. If we give them what they want, yeah. I just don't know if we'll give them what they want.
Anything is possible.
Anyone can go get him as long as you're willing to pay for. Like, give up all the first round picks, then anyone can have him. It's just a matter of if we're willing to do it.
All right, Mr. Duggan, did you leave an upper decker?
So technically, the house I was at was owned by my employer, so that might not have gone well for me.
But how would they know?
They would probably listen to this and find out. I'm guessing they could narrow it down. They could narrow it down to 2 people at that party that might consider that.
Yeah, the 2 people we invited that weren't Chiefs.
You're the most likely. Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't want to get
Between
fired.
you and Adam, I would put all of my money on you.
It's so obvious. It's so obvious.
Yeah.
So I didn't do it. So I'm sorry that's not the answer you want, and I know I'm better than that, but it just didn't happen.
But what was it like watching the fans get absolutely destroyed the entire game?
It's just, I don't know. There was just the cockiness of their fan base, just not going their way was just extra because it was just extra. It just felt
comeuppance.
Yeah, it just. Welcome to what it feels like. It happens to us in the regular season. It happens to you on the biggest stage with the most watched game in football history. Yeah. So, yeah. Suck it.
Yeah. Deal with it.
That's all I got for you.
Yeah.
You suck, Chiefs. As my good friend Stellan Duggan would say, you Chiefs suck.
Chiefs suck.
Yeah.
And as far as... yeah, I would never feel sorry for Chiefs fans. Are you kidding me? It's insane.
No.
But at what point during the Super Bowl party did you pull your pants down around ankles and scream, "Suck my butt"? When I went to the bathroom. I pulled my pants all the way down.
And took an upper decker.
And I said, "Suck my butt." And let out a wicked piss. Well, there you go, Tony. Thank you, buddy, for asking the question. And thank you, everybody, for asking questions. And Ask Boltfam, we greatly appreciate it. That's going to do it for this post-Super Bowl episode. Any final thoughts there, gentlemen?
Season's over, man. Everyone's back to 0-0, 0-0, goose egg and goose egg. It doesn't matter. We're building and we're moving forward.
Yes. And we get an off season where we don't have to deal with Missouri fans celebrating a Super Bowl. We can just go
They
on
want to
with our
forget about that
lives.
Super Bowl.
I'm sure they do. I'm sure we're going to see some clearance Chiefs merch here in the off season.
Oh, yeah. And then who knows? Maybe Kelsey retires. There's lots to look forward to.
Dude, that would be wild. That would be
There's
nice.
lots to look forward to.
All right, folks. That's going to do it for us here at Charger Chat. Don't forget to bolt up because we're ready for any squad, any place.
Okay, love you. Bye.
Okay, love you. Bye.
Okay, love you. Bye.
And now, a word from our sponsors.
In a world where pirates are known for their ruthless ways, one stands apart. Meet Captain Huggin, a pirate like no other. He's got a heart as big as the ocean and a hug for every Chargers fan he meets. But when he's not hugging, he's dropping surprises. This summer, prepare for a pirate adventure where the hugs are mighty and the upper deckers are legendary. Captain Huggin, the warm-hearted McSnuggles. This summer, it's a hug you won't escape. Yar.